before we try and delve into the nitty-gritties of these particular questions of the AZ-900, this particular question needs you to plan and understand what are the various services or resources that are being provided by the Azure cloud. Question 3 revolves around is a series of questions that needs you to analyze the problem and understand. So the question reads, last question, you have an on-premises network that contains several servers. You plan to migrate all the servers to Azure. You need to recommend a solution to ensure that some of the servers are available if a single Azure data center goes offline for an extended period. What should you include in the recommendation? For Azure enthusiasts, welcome to our YouTube presentation at 591 Lab on mastering AZ-900. Happy New Year, everyone. This set of questions that we are going to discuss today will revolve around Microsoft Azure fundamentals. My name is Jackton, and today we'll tackle comprehensive review questions to reinforce your understanding and boost your confidence for the AZ-900 exam. First and foremost, who are we? We are 591lab.com, pronounced as 591 Lab. 591 Lab is the top IT training and certification exam brand in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Singapore. Our mission at 591 Lab is to provide our clients with exceptional exam preparation experience for certifications in Cisco, Huawei, Aruba, Juniper, Microsoft, and Azure certification tracks. So the questions will revolve around the three agendas. 1 is to describe cloud concepts. 2 is to describe Azure architecture and the services. 3 is to describe Azure management and governance. So all the questions will revolve around these three particular topics. For the part 1 series, the questions will revolve around describe cloud concepts and describe Azure architecture and services. So before we try and delve into the nitty-gritties of these particular questions of the AZ-900, I would like to explain a little bit of the AZ-900 exam in a nutshell. So AZ-900 is a fundamental exam that introduces the new persons to the Azure cloud platform. So essentially it addresses the need of the new users or new customers who wants to understand how Azure cloud gets to operate. Without further ado, let me start by stating what Azure is. So Azure in a nutshell is a Microsoft cloud computing platform offering vast array of services. So the key characteristics that this Azure cloud is offering you as a consumer is in terms of scalability, elasticity, agility, and reliability. So you'll ask yourself, what sort of resources then are being provided by the Azure cloud? These resources that are provided by Azure cloud revolves around three aspects or three core Azure services. One is compute, the second one is storage, and the third one is networking. So in terms of compute, we have what we call virtual machines and app services. In terms of storage, we have blob storage and Azure files. In terms of networking, we have virtual network and load balancer, for example. We have other plethora of services that falls within these core Azure services. You'll ask yourself again, how is Azure cloud then different with other cloud platforms available? So within cloud computing, it's usually categorized into three. We usually have private cloud, public cloud. So what is the difference between the public cloud and the private cloud? A private cloud, you get to manage entirely the entire infrastructure by yourself as a customer. But with the public cloud, you get to leverage only the resources that you require, but the entire management of the infrastructure where the data center sits and all that is being managed by a cloud vendor. In this case, the cloud vendor in discussion is Azure, that is being provided by Microsoft. So again, you'll ask yourself, how is the pricing being done for cloud computing or cloud solutions? The pricing is based on it's based on certain factors. So one is in terms of usage, services, and region. So when we say in terms of usage, that gives us an idea of the pricing models. So the pricing models here revolves around pay as you go and reserved instances. When we say pay as you go, meaning that you only pay for the resources as of the time you're using those particular resources. If you are not using those resources, you don't make payment for those particular resources. When we say reserved instances, we mean that these resources you can make purchase in advance, for example, and state categorically that you will be using a certain amount of compute for a particular duration of time. So for example, you can say if you're going to use these resources for a duration of 1 year or a duration of 3 years, you can choose to do the reservation on this particular compute resources. So to start with question 1, what are 2 characteristics of the public cloud? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So the characteristics of the public cloud, as I mentioned, is that you don't get to manage the data center, for example, where the infrastructure lies, the infrastructure that is supporting the compute, where the ones that you're subscribing to within the cloud vendor, it's being entirely managed by the vendor themselves. Let's take the case of Microsoft. The data centers sitting around all over the world, those data centers are being managed, and security wise they're being done by Microsoft themselves. So you as a consumer, because of this public cloud, your only opportunity here is to use the services as provided by the cloud vendor. So this some sort of self-service management, in that you are able to go ahead and provision the resources by yourself, and also you can even go ahead and decommission those particular resources. Another thing here is that there is, in terms of pricing, as I stated, is based on usage, pay as you go model. So majorly now you are only using you're only paying for the services that you've consumed so far. So that is usually fall under the metered pricing. So when we say now in terms of this question, what are the 2 characteristics of a public cloud? A says a dedicated hardware. This is not true, because a dedicated hardware, you're not dedicated to a particular hardware, because that is obfuscated from you as a consumer. The person in charge of the hardware is the vendor themselves. So unsecured connections, that is not true, because within the public cloud there are aspects of cloud security that has been implemented, so to ensure that all the consumers are all protected, and all their data is protected within the public cloud wherever they do their connections. Limited storage, this is also not true, because the public cloud offers you a big chunk of storage that you can get to utilize, and it's very cheap. So that is even the hallmark of why one will consider using the public cloud, because there is unlimited storage that you can get to utilize, for example, store your data and also expand and provide it at a reasonable cost for you as a consumer. So that leaves us with the two answers here: metered pricing and self-service management as the answer to question 1. So I'll go to the Azure portal and then just show you roughly what it entails. So within the Azure portal, we have compute services. So we have virtual machines. So I'll just go to resources. If I say create a resource, you can see the popular resources. We have virtual machines, we have web applications, SQL database, function apps. So all this revolves around compute. So under the categories, you can see under compute, we have all these resources. Under containers, we have all these resources. Under databases, we have all these resources. And the developer tools, we have all these resources as well that are being provided to you as the end consumer. In terms of analytics, you have all these resources at your disposal that you can get to utilize. So as mentioned, within the cloud, public cloud, the pricing model majorly based on pay-as-you-go and reserved instance. So when I say reserved instance, so when I say, for example, when I go search for reserved instance, goes reservations. So under reservations, you'll see you can be able to reserve resources. So you can see the resources that can be able to reserve. So when you're doing reservation, you receive discounts on your Azure services by purchasing the reservation for these particular resources. So the reservation is either 1 year or predominantly or 3 year reserved. Let's proceed to the next question. This particular question needs you to plan and understand what are the various services or resources that are being provided by the Azure cloud. So it's setting to complete this sentence. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So the answer area is, when planning to migrate a public website to Azure, you must plan to dash. So deploy a VPN, pay monthly usage cost, pay to transfer all the website data to Azure, reduce the number of connections to the website. So to answer this question, let's start by removing all the incorrect answers. So first of all, deploy a VPN. It is not mandatory that when you're migrating your websites to the Azure, you need to deploy a VPN. So what usually happens is that when you're moving your resources, that is the website, from the on-premises or whatever location they are to Azure, you'll use what we call the app services. App services or the web apps fall under platform as a service. So when I say platform as a service, these are a category of the cloud computing model. So for example, you can have infrastructure as a service, which entirely deal with compute aspect, the way you have the on-premises servers. So the infrastructure service purely deal with the servers, or the one that you can get to manage as a consumer or the user. You have entire management of that particular resource. But platform as a service, you dedicate some of the management aspect of the infrastructure to the vendor. So in this case, the vendor is Microsoft or the Azure team. You dedicate management of the infrastructure to the team, and you only get to utilize the service, that is the web app service, and then just host your application in there. You're only concerned about your application that you want to host. So when we go to another aspect is software as a service, but that one is predominantly the vendor is managing everything for you. You only bring in your data. For example, software as a service will be a Microsoft Sentinel or even a Microsoft 365 product. So choice B here is saying pay monthly usage costs. Of course, as seen with the resources in Azure or any other cloud, say, you will need to pay for the monthly usage cost. So when you're paying for the monthly usage cost, that is usually what we call the pay as you go. So pay as you go model. But again, now when you do reservation, is that you are reserving for 1 year or you are reserving for 3 years. So in this case, when you're planning to migrate a website to Azure, of course, you'll have to pay for the monthly usage cost that is falling under pay as you go model. Pay to transfer all the website data to Azure. You don't need to pay because the payment or that aspect of payment, if you know as a consumer on how to do the migration by yourself, you don't need to do any sort of payment to do the transfer of the website to Azure. It's totally free. Reduce the number of connections to the website. No, this is not right. When you're moving to the Azure side, you're moving your website to the Azure side, you don't need to reduce the number of connections to the website. You can still maintain how people are connecting to your website. Even you can even increase how people connect to your website, where you increase the reach of your website to your people. So the answer to this question is pay monthly usage costs. As discussed, this falls under pay as you go model. I'll go to the Azure portal and show you how the Azure web apps work. So when I go back home, I say create a resource. So under web apps, so I'll go to you can see here web apps. So when I want to migrate my website from on-premises, I'll have to come here on the web apps and create this web app application, so that I'll be able to move my application to this particular web app. So you can see under publish aspect is that I can publish a code. For example, if I have a code sitting on my on-prem, I can just publish the code here. Or if I have a Docker container, I can go ahead and just publish the Docker container here. Or if I have a static web application, if I want a static web application, I can just go ahead and make this website of mine a static web app. So let's proceed to the next question. Question 3 revolves around is a series of questions that needs you to analyze the problem and understand. So the question reads, after your company plans to migrate all its data and resources to Azure, the company's migration plan states that only platform as a service solution must be used in Azure. You need to deploy an Azure environment that meets this company migration plan. Solution that is being provided to you is you create an Azure App Service and Azure SQL databases. Does this meet the goal? Yes or no? So to answer this question, you have to really understand what a platform as a service is. So platform as a service, it's a part of computing model whereby you are only in charge of the data or utilizing that particular service. So the management of the infrastructure is purely being done by the vendor. So in a nutshell, platform as a service is a complete development and deployment environment in the cloud with resources that enable you to deliver everything from simple cloud-based application to sophisticated cloud-enabled enterprise applications. You purchase the resources you need from cloud service provider on a pay-as-you-go, the way we are discussed, you pay per monthly, and then access them over secure internet connection. So like the platform like infrastructure as a service, PaaS also has got infrastructure, that is the server, the storage, and networking. But all this is you're not able to access them as the end user. All this is being managed entirely by the vendor themselves. So examples of platform as a service solutions are, the way I'd mentioned, web apps. The web apps fall under the Azure App Services. Another platform as a service solution is Azure SQL databases. Azure SQL database is a platform as a service, in that you only get to bring your data and utilize the environment for the provided resources. So in this case, or in this regard, you'll find that the answer to this question now, you create as provided solution, that you create an Azure App Service and Azure SQL database. So these will meet the goal of the company because of the migration plan of the company, because all these services are platform as a service. So the answer here is yes. Last question. You have an on-premises network that contains several servers. You plan to migrate all the servers to Azure. You need to recommend a solution to ensure that some of the servers are available if a single Azure data center goes offline for an extended period. What should you include in the recommendation? So as I've already explained, within the Azure cloud or any other cloud, there are advantages that it offers you as a consumer. First of all, it offers you elasticity, it offers you fault tolerance, it offers you scalability, and also agility. But now in this question is asking you need to recommend a solution to ensure that some of the servers are available if a single Azure data center goes offline. So that means you have this solution needs to ensure that if at all there is a server that another data center that goes offline, for example, the end consumer still needs to go ahead and be in production. They need not to go offline. So there should be, in that essence, you've implemented some sort of redundancy within your application or within your production environment. So to ensure that you don't go offline as a consumer, that aspect of the cloud that is ensuring that is maintained is what we call the fault tolerance. So the cloud provider that you choose, or for example in this case Azure, Azure will ensure that your application, for example, if at all you are hosting your application in one particular data center, they are sort of assuring you that your data, for example, there's a secondary region, for example, where your data, for example, is replicated for in that asset if you've done that configurations within the Azure itself. So it is not elastic. In short, elasticity is the ability to fit the resources needed to cope with loads dynamically, usually in relation to scale out, so that when the load increases, you scale by adding more resources, and when the demand wanes, you shrink back and remove unneeded resources. But with the scalability is whereby the system is to be able to accommodate larger workload just by adding resources, either making hardware stronger. So it's about scaling up. So with scalability is about scaling up. With the elasticity is about the system adjusting by itself, where it can dynamically load itself in relation to scaling out, where you scale out by adding more resources, or when the demand decreases, you shrink back the resources to the required normal. So this in a nutshell presents what AZ-900 has to offer. AZ-900 is very straightforward exam, and you only need to understand the aspects of the Azure cloud in terms of payment model, governance, the architecture, how the cloud platforms gets created, for example. And in our series 2 or part 2 of the AZ-900, we'll be able to see more questions in regard to the AZ-900 exam. So this marks the end of my presentation. I want to thank you all for attending today's class at 591 Lab. We hope you found the material informative and helpful. Remember, practice is critical to mastering any new skill, so review the course content and keep practicing with 591 Lab, help and support. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us. We appreciate your participation and look forward to seeing you in our future classes. Have a great day.